Thank you for watching Super Bowl Week Kickoff. I am Fidel Barraza. Alongside with me, Jerry Martinez, Walter Stringer, SK Patrick, and Kendall Whitley. How you guys doing?
All right, let's go.
Doing just
Excellent, man.
fine. Super Bowl
Super Bowl
week
week.
is what we've been
Yep.
waiting for.
Man, it's just at to think, right? We almost thought that this week would not happen, and NFL did an amazing job. The players did an amazing job. I mean, just everybody that's involved in the NFL did an amazing job as far as keeping the players safe and coaches safe, and just everybody.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Super Bowl 55 here in a bit. But first, let's start off with some trade news that happened over the weekend. So we saw Jared Goff be sent out to Detroit in exchange for Matthew Stafford and two first-round picks and a third-round pick. Let me start off with Walter Stringer. What were your initial thoughts when you heard about the trade?
Um, Made perfect sense. Actually, me and one of our colleagues, Ned Lennon, actually discussed it. I think a day before the trade actually happened, where the only way a trade with the Rams would work out is if they matched up both quarterbacks and threw picks in there. So, if you look at it from the Detroit Lions point of view, it gives them, provides them with excellent flexibility over the next few years. They owe pretty much, they're on the hook for 43 million of guaranteed money left for Jared Goff. And the final 2 years of his deal actually are without that money. So no guaranteed money, which means that after the 2022 season, if Goff stinks it up these next couple years, they can actually cut him and not have to pay him a dime. So I think things really work out for Detroit in the sense that they have that draft capital now. They're not really pressed to take a quarterback at number 7 unless a guy happens to fall to them. They have 4 number 1 picks over the next 2 years, and that's actually equaled out to, I believe they have 6 of the top 50 picks in the next 3 drafts, something close to that. So I think they did the best they could, considering what we heard the Colts offered and what the Panthers and what the 49ers offered.
Jerry.
Real quick, Walt. I was
Yeah,
I was technically the first one that said Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. Didn't I? Yes or no?
I don't remember that, Jerry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Let's
don't remember that.
let's go back to Facebook and look at that when your buddy was like, "Nah, it's not gonna happen," and I said, "I know."
You
I just like
actually
to
did.
give you and Walter a hard time, man. But
Yeah, you did. You did.
but it's crazy, man, how this worked out. Like, I mean, if you look at the big picture, if you look at the big picture, wow, I think I think now that we have the right person in place, right? And I'm talking about the general manager, and he is from the Los Angeles Rams too, right?
Yes.
So when you look
Mhm.
at it, he was looking at big long term picture. So he just said, you know what? We bring in Jared Goff. It doesn't work. Okay, fine. We're in a full rebuild mode. So if you stop, you look at it. Hey, if you don't land a future quarterback in this year's draft, that's fine. Take your best available players that are going to help make an immediate impact. And you
True.
know what? Next year, who knows what happens? I mean, you never know, right? And a Joe Burrow can emerge from the pack next year if you didn't get your
True.
quarterback this year or the following year. The following year has some, highly touted quarterback talent. So you literally bought yourself 3 years to find that future quarterback while you're building your team in the process. So I think when you look at it, I think that Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. He just needs some work, but I think that overall you didn't lose. Okay, you traded off Matt Stafford, but you still got somebody that could still play quarterback at a good level. So obviously the Detroit Lions know what they want to do. I think that if they just kind of invested in defensive line, offensive line, I think they'll be trending in the right direction. And who knows, maybe Dan Campbell can turn this thing around within the next 2 to 3 years.
Excellent points. SK.
The trade scares me for Detroit. I'm just looking at golf when he has bad coaching under Jeff Fisher. We've seen what that provided. We've seen that after his 2 great years, he got signed to that massive contract,
Mhm.
and his last 2 years have been okay, above average to if you want to put it like that. But going to Dan Campbell for a new head coach, a rebuilt team, a team that wasn't really built for him as the Rams were built for golf when Sean McVay first came and installed that offense. Just kind of puts me on a little bit of shaky ground going into that type of environment. Again, when you came into a dysfunctional environment at first, and you was considered almost a bust. Now you're going back to another dysfunctional organization that's in a crisis right now. Clearly, they should have kept Jim Caldwell. Clearly, he was not the problem. It's just overall the structure of that organization is what seems to be the problem. So on that end, and of course, he's going from the sunshine of LA to Detroit. So that's a loser part right there. But on the flip side, I feel like this is huge for Matthew Stafford. He can really build his legacy to show that the talent that he had in Detroit was wasted, and it was, like I said, more of the organization than it was him. And especially with those weapons, that defense, that arm talent that he has, Sean McVay's wizardry of running that offense, I just think it's going to be something to behold. I think it puts them in prime Super Bowl contention, and we'll have to see. But I feel like it's a lot, though. Still, 2 first rounders, and that extra pick that they got in the deals is very it's very it's very underhyped at the moment, because that can allow them to possibly move up if they do seek a player. Hey, we have a first and a third to move up into a first round to select a player that they may see is more valuable at their lower selection or higher selection or anything, or even be able to move back. So that's just what's my thoughts is that Detroit, you won in terms of the draft, but at the quarterback position, I still feel like it's basically 50-50, and you still just doing an uphill battle.
I think the Rams think it's Super Bowl or bust in the next couple of years. So, Kendall, what were your thoughts on the initial trade?
I agree with you, Fidel. There, I think in the short term, the Rams they definitely won this trade. I mean, just look at it. I think they're a quarterback away, and maybe can get like another pass or whatnot. But I think they're a quarterback away. They got plenty of playmakers on offense and defense to get to the Super Bowl within the next 2 years. In the long term, I think the Detroit Lions they won it. It's not even close. I think Jared Goff, I mean, maybe he fits in Detroit. He might fit in Detroit. They can build a team around him. If not, you can draft a quarterback, because you're probably going to have a top 10 pick probably next year too. Just looking at the team for right now, I know Frederick hasn't started, but then and let's not forget they got a 3rd round pick this year, and they got 2 ones. They got a 1 in 22 and a 1 in 23. So they can get some pieces down there for Detroit if they want to build around Goff. The Rams, they don't have a 1st round pick until like 2024, I think. So and they don't have a lot of cap space left right now anyway. So I think in the short term, in the small window, the Rams won. But long term, I think Detroit still they had to go out and prove they won. They had to draft well. They got to sign some pretty good guys and free agents as well to prove that they won this trade. But I think right now the Rams won it, and we see how everything goes. We've seen these trades in the past, like they go at the vice versa what we thinking.
Yeah,
and one comment quick about that.
Go ahead.
Like from the Rams' point of view, they're in, as far as Fidel just said, they're in win now mode.
Mm-hmm.
And this could either turn out to be the move that made Sean McVay a made man that got him a ring, or this could turn out to be the final nail in the coffin that gets him ran out of town. Because let's say, for instance, this whole thing goes bad from the Rams' point of view. Stafford gets there, he's injury prone while he's there, he never reaches his potential, he's gone in 2 years. Or he gets there and for whatever reason, he doesn't click with the organization. He doesn't click with Sean McVay. They have some bad underperforming seasons. Things don't work out. McVay could be easily out the door in 2 years if this whole thing blows up. And they don't have any picks. So people need to understand, as much as we think Stafford was pretty much wasted here in Detroit, and if he goes somewhere else, he'll be great, he'll be this. He very well could go somewhere else and the bottom could fall out. And if the bottom falls out for the Rams, they're in trouble.
Well, and I think it's important to know. Go ahead, Jerry.
I just wanted to throw these little nuggets in there, but I don't know if you know this, but so Sean McVay and his fiance were in Cabo.
Yeah.
And Matt Stafford and his wife were in Cabo at the exact same time before the trade happened. And once the trade was finalized, yeah, they were celebrating. So this was something that was brewing long before we even knew.
Well, honestly, Jerry, you know what really worries me about Goff? 41 picks and 21 fumbles in the last 3 years?
Too many.
That's what
way too many.
That's what really worries me about Goff. But I don't think the Lions care. I mean, I don't think they're really expecting him to come here and play well and win them over in 2 years. If
That's
it
right.
happens, hey, that's a nice play. That's a nice problem to have if after the 2022 season, you're like, well, damn it, Golf really played his ass off these last 2 years. Do we re-sign him, or do we go ahead and play Zach Wilson, or do we go ahead and play Sam Howell, or whoever the quarterback is at that point in time?
Well,
Yeah.
Hey, Walter.
that's a great way to solidify a premium pick next year if Goff doesn't play good.
Hey, real quick, Walter,
Sorry
you're a
about
Lions fan. I want to ask you, what is Detroit going to do with that first pick? Are they going to go with a receiver? Because I think all three of y'all wide receivers are free agents. I don't know what Jared Goff's going to be throwing to right now. So what do they do with the first pick?
So much flexibility, Kendall. So much. I mean, the Lions could very well sit there firm at 7 and just take the best available athlete that falls, whether it's one of the quarterbacks that falls, or even if Penei Sewell falls, which I've seen a lot of mock drafts with him falling lately. If Sewell falls to 7, I think they would be pretty hard pressed to fall on a guy like him. You know, I think more than anything, they want to make sure they hit a home run with this first pick in this regime. So you want to make sure you get a cornerstone player, whether it's a quarterback, a linebacker, a pass rusher, an offensive lineman, whoever. You just want to make sure you get someone who's a building block moving forward.
And a couple of, I think these are things we should bring up. So a report came out earlier today that they are not going to rework Matt Stafford's contract. So he's going to be playing on that tier deal that he had with the Detroit Lions. And also, too, these first-round picks that the Rams sent over, they're not for this year. They're there for the 22 and 23. I think it's important to notice that this year's draft is probably going to be the hardest one to evaluate talent just because there's no scouting combine, right? So there was about 8 teams that were interested for trading for Matthew Stafford, but ultimately the Rams were the ones. And let's think about it. Last week on Monday, did anybody think the Rams were going to trade Matthew Stafford or trade Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford?
Well, there was a little shuffling with the GM explaining about that. So
yeah, and that was on Wednesday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, and we talked about it on the podcast.
It was rumblings though. Jalen Ramsey liked to pick on Instagram or Twitter, something along those lines, of bringing Watson on to the Rams. I mean, it started from up top because the GM or the owner stated that he's a Ram for now, or he's a Ram right now, not really giving them any confidence. So it was rumblings. I didn't think it was going to be Matthew. I thought Matthew was pretty set on going to the Colts. I thought they was going to get that in the works, but they threw that extra first-round pick out there and took 2 firsts. Third, money matches up, solid quarterback for a better quarterback. We'll go with it.
There were also organizations that Matthew just flat out said no to. Also, which we heard the Patriots was one. There was also reports that the Broncos offered the 10th. I think was it the 10th pick?
Yeah,
and Drew, I believe,
the Panthers offered the 8th pick as well.
They offered 8 and Teddy.
He did mention that he did not want to play in the cold too, so that probably was a factor in the whole decision as well.
Yeah, I think it's why he didn't want to go to New England.
I don't see. I mean, it's everything. Well, outside of me, I'd rather play in the city of LA. But as far as just the roster and the way that it's built out, I mean, both teams have considerable talent. Both teams look like a quarterback away from making a real run. So it kind of baffled me that he nixed the Colts. But I'm not surprised at all about the LA.
Well, just look at the Rams, though. The Rams have a lot of guys coming up, though. They can't pay everybody. You know, they can't pay Floyd. They got to eventually pay, what's the name, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Brockers. They may lose John Johnson. Yeah. So that they can't afford to really keep everybody over there for long. So that window is very, very narrow for the Rams right now.
I believe they took care of Cooper Kupp's contract earlier in the year, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, I think he got Robert Woods got a extension last year, but I mean,
that's the thing. Over the next couple of years,
you're right. The window's shrinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Everyone thinks that the Rams don't have any salary cap, no draft picks, and they were still able to pull out the trade. They always find a way. Yeah. So credit to Sean
McVay now. Well, it's not about finding a way. Now they have to win. You're expecting a guy who has never won before to win now.
I have an interesting question for all of you right now. Now seeing Jared Goff, the first pick in that draft class, and we've seen what happened with Carson Wentz this year. Carson Wentz now tradable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
Yes.
you
He's
think that?
tradable.
Do you think anybody will actually seek a trade with the Philadelphia Eagles
I
for
think
Carson Wentz?
I think
I
the
don't
coach will.
I don't think so because I think they brought in that coach. Sorry, his name escapes me. I think they brought him in to kind of try to fix the Wentz situation because if that was the case and they were willing to part ways with Carson Wentz, I think Doug Peterson might still be there.
I'm just saying, 2 first-round picks for the future. That sounds very enticing.
It does. I'm not saying it's not right, but um, yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe the Colts come up with
I don't
something,
I
think
and
think
I
the
have that
coach. I think the
confidence. I
coach
don't
can
think
do
I
it.
have that confidence in Wentz anymore. I
why?
mean,
Why is that?
he's just too injury prone. I mean, when we saw flashes of greatness a few years back when he was in the MVP discussion, but ever since then, it just seems like his confidence has been slowly evaporating. When Foles won, then it was, is that a competition? Does it just doesn't seem like he just has it
Well,
has it
look
all the
what he's
way
been
to
through.
go.
That's a great That's a
Oh, well,
great
that's
point.
true. But see, so maybe he does need a fresh change of culture from
Change the scenery.
Philly, and he can get his confidence back in a new situation.
That's a great point you brought up. I think it's like you said, it's the psyche. Once your psyche's gone, especially if you play quarterback, even in everyday life, man. If you have somebody that's just constantly telling you like negativity
Hmm.
or your surroundings is negative, I mean, it's hard to break out of the
And
slump until you
this is a
move
consistent
out of
thing.
it. Yeah, it is.
Foles, then Jalen. It's always I got to watch my back. Y'all don't really 100% have the confidence in me, and that's just draining on me. So I need to maybe break away.
Man, when Philadelphia Eagle fans booed Santa Claus, come on, man. You think they're gonna get Christmas gifts?
What do y'all
Hey,
think about?
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do y'all think about with the Rams being so aggressive, with possibly Watson taking his career in his own hands, and seeing that some NBA is starting to seep in, where players is starting to take the advantage of their careers, and as teams are starting to get a little bit more aggressive as to win now. Do you see that the NBA culture is seeping into the NFL?
I don't think so.
They're trying to.
Trying to, but I don't think it'll happen. Two different sports to me, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
players have recognized that they don't have to just sit and rot anymore in a bad situation. You know, it sometimes the means the process justifies the end of it, and when it comes down to it, players don't always have the ability to have the voice to go out and do what they do or do what they really want to do. Players are always front line when the bullets are flying after a loss. You never have to talk to the team president. You never have to talk to the GM. You talk to the players, then go ahead and you talk to the coaches. So I
mm.
think players really understand now that, okay, you know what? I don't have to get drafted by an organization and sit there and just rot my career away for 12, 13, 14 years. I can get out of here and jump ship before this boat goes underwater.
Well, let's stick to the quarterback topic really quick. Deshaun Watson, the topic that's not going away, and he does not want to be in Houston anymore. David
Better yet,
Cawley,
better yet, let's ask this. How many quarterbacks do we think are going to be moved in the offseason? Because wow, what a start.
yeah, it's going to be a lot of quarterbacks.
And let's
But
start off with Deshaun Watson.
let's start out with Deshaun Watson. So David Cawley, the new head coach for the Houston Texans, came out last week in his press conference, and he said he was there because Deshaun Watson was going to be his quarterback. Let me start out with Jerry. What are your thoughts? Where's Deshaun Watson going to end up? Obviously, he already came out and said he wants to trade.
It's kind of unique, Greg, because we saw it. I believe it's his management group. I don't know if it's his agent, but he put on there that Deshaun Watson has not made any of this public. So obviously, it's catching wind. But I just think that right now, yeah, okay. If Deshaun Watson was told, if Deshaun Watson was told that he would be involved in all of this offseason, the GM search and the coaching search, if this is not enough, I mean, if that was the tipping scale, or if this is the main reason was because they went against their word. I mean, man, it's kind of tough. But I'll tell you this, Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson would he if he the only way he will win is if he just kind of becomes the leader that he is and just goes back to the Texans and just beats the player that he is. Because I will say this: if he does not play, if he does not play, he's gonna owe the Houston Texans 21 million. The Houston Texans, they can literally play hardball and they can make him retire early at a young age.
Walter, get your thoughts on Deshaun Watson and where he might end up playing next year.
Honestly, there's no telling right now. I think this whole situation could go deep into the summer, honestly, given the fact that I think the Dolphins are the only team that can really offer Houston what they truly want. And everything as far as that potentially happening factors, well, these hinges on what the Dolphins choose to do at number 3. We still don't know how they honestly feel about Tua. We've heard rumblings about veterans in the locker room not really responding to him well, not taking to him well. People not liking his arm. They don't feel like he's aggressive enough. If there's that much hoopla around a rookie, it may be time to cut your losses. Personally, I've never been that big of a Tua fan to begin with, so it would probably be easier for me to just wash my hands of him. But there's still rumblings about Miami potentially taking Fields at number 2. I mean, not number 2, but number 3. So, like I said, the Dolphins have what it takes to really get him out of Houston. They have what Houston wants. Nobody else is going to offer what they want. If you see what Detroit got for Stafford, what do you guys really think Houston can potentially get for Deshaun Watson? And Frisco said basically, hey, what Detroit wanted was too much. And the Colts said the same thing. So are the Colts willing to sacrifice those picks?
To me, they overreached.
SK, really quick. So I'm glad you brought that up, Walter. So the Houston Chronicles, John McClain said the Texans would want 2 first-round draft picks, 2 second-rounders, and 2 defensive starters in exchange for Deshaun Watson.
Woo!
2 defensive starters?
That's what they want.
Or just 2 starters?
No,
2 defensive starters came out today.
And that's from John McClain of the Houston Chronicle. He follows the Texans very closely.
Yeah, he's a pretty good on that.
I mean, I feel like the Rams overreached with that trade, but now that the market is set, Houston is going to try to get the moon and the sun now.
Well, SK, they knew 7 other teams were interested in Matt Stafford. And one of those teams were the 49ers. Now, obviously, they didn't want to give up their draft capital like that, like the Rams did. But to me, it was a power play by Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it goes back to what we're saying. They're in a win-now mode. I still feel like they overreached, which reset the market for what Deshaun was going to demand. But that's a lot to give up. Two first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and 2 defensive starters is a lot. But as Walt pointed out, Miami they have the ammunition that they can possibly make a trade for the likes of Watson, which I think is absolutely great on their part. Already a playoff caliber team that can just be able to be pushed up into that next step, and then you still have a solid prospect in Tua. Maybe he needs a change of scenery as well, and then you still have those draft picks to build around him as you begin your rebuilding. So that's something to look out for. I know the Jets were brought up. I just really don't see how it works with the Jets. I don't see him actually. He might be making them into a playoff contender, but if he's a player, his talent demands that he's chasing championships. I feel like he can chase some championships in Miami, but if he gets traded to the Jets, I see average to playoff success at best, and his talent dictates way more than that.
Now, there was a report that he did come out and say, supposedly, that he would be okay playing for the New York Jets. So
yeah, just from my end, I'm looking at what does the Jets really provide for you outside of branding for yourself, being in the Big Apple on the football field. As a team, what does the Jets bring you? I don't see them bringing you sustained football success. But if you go to Miami, I can see sustained football success with the Dolphins and that coaching staff and that team.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we're a long way away from this situation being figured out.
And this is Super Bowl weekend,
This
Hey
Yeah,
man,
Speak.
y'all said the Dolphins and the Jets. I hope he don't need to go to the AFC East. Stay out the AFC East. He need to listen.
Spoken
I
like
mean,
a
I
real
think
big.
he's going. I think the Panthers. I think he's going to the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to make a trade for him, and I think that's a perfect team for him. They got a few picks. They don't mind giving up a few picks. They got a great offense. Defense is young, is on the rise, but he need to go anywhere but the AFC East.
man,
Keep them away from you.
That's right.
hey, look, there might even be a team that we're not even talking about that we don't even know about that
Sure.
he might end up playing for. So we'll see.
Sure.
The situation is not any. It's not going to be settled anytime soon, I don't think. All right, let's go and talk about Super Bowl 55. Now, a report did come out today that two players on the Kansas City Chiefs, Daniel Kilgore, the center, and Demarcus Robinson, the wide receiver, were placed on the COVID list, close contact list. Now, both players can play Super Bowl Sunday if they continue to test negative. But let's talk about the game overall. So let me get your initial impressions of Super Bowl 55. Let's start out with Jerry.
You know how they say defense wins championships, and right now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, they really have been stepping it up. But I don't know, man. Are you ready? Am I ready to count out Patrick Mahomes? I mean, that's the thing. Now, I think he's missing aside from the Kilgore, wasn't he missing two
Two,
offensive linemen?
two of his starting tackles will be out. Yes.
Eric
So
Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean
know
this
Fisher is out. I don't know about. I think the other one is he's probably going to play. But I know Fisher. One of them is
He's
out.
out too.
I
He's out for the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. That's what I
when
read earlier.
yeah, when I heard that, I was like, "Oh man, they're gonna let JPP and Shaquille Barrett just, I mean, they're gonna let them have a field day." And if that pass rush can get to Patrick Mahomes, man, those corners have they've been on and off this season, but right now they're playing lights out, or the defensive backfield. So, man, if you're placing bets, man, uh, I don't
Good
know
luck.
which way is it swinging right now? Were you able to check that?
Kansas
And
City.
Kansas
Kansas
City.
City, 3-point
Minus
favorites.
3.
So if you if you're placing a big bet, man, if you place it for the Bucks to take the win, man, you're gonna be rich. Please remember my name.
And I believe the under over is 56 points for the game.
Wow. So
Walter.
those are my first impressions.
My first impression is playmakers. It's playmakers and it's Pro Bowlers all over the field this Sunday. Just a hell of a matchup. And also Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill versus Tampa Bay's cover one. Didn't work out so well the earlier in the season.
What do you have? 200 yards in the first half
Yeah.
receiving?
Yeah. So in case people didn't know out there, Tyreek Hill can run. Like he can run very, very
I
fast.
did.
Yeah.
I did not know
And
that.
he's very low to the ground. He's built like a fire hydrant.
And
So
Well,
he's low to the ground.
Hey,
He's strong. He's thick and he's fast.
hey, Walter. Well,
and
I'm sure 49er fans know that he can run.
Oh yeah, they know. It's
Yeah.
man. It's look. When I look at it for what it is, it's too much talent on the field. And as much as Tampa loves the blitz, Mahomes is just as great against the blitz. And they have zero matchup for Travis Kelce. Period. Whether they want to match up Winfield with them, whether they want to throw Carlton Davis at him from time to time, or whoever they choose to throw at him, Levante David is probably their best coverage linebacker. Devin White is probably their best athlete at linebacker. No one can touch Kelce. So you can blitz all you want all day. You still have to guard that shell. And you still have to guard everything within 15 yards. So this could be a game where Kelce gets 11, 12, 13 catches. He's got what? 25 targets in 2 playoff games already this postseason on 21 catches. So I think there's a hell of a lot of matchups in this game, and it's going to come down to who makes the big play and who doesn't.
SK.
My first impressions are that the Kansas City Chiefs just has too many ways that they can beat you. They can beat Patrick Mahomes can beat you from inside the pocket. He can beat you from outside the pocket. They have a strong running game. They have a strong screen game. They have a strong RPO options. I just feel like they can play within themselves and they can play outside themselves. Looking at the other side of the ball, Tom Brady can only play within himself because when he starts to get that risk it and biscuit type of style, we see 3 interceptions in the second half against Green Bay. So if you play like you did in the first half, we got a ball game on our hands. If you play how you played in the second half and give Patrick Mahomes extra opportunity to score, as Walt said, that cheetah like running player out there in Tariq Hill is going to burn you as many times as he can to get on that field. So it's really just looking at that defense and can they really stop the vastness of Kansas City? And then we got to look back at when they first played. In that first half, Kansas City was on all cylinders. Tampa Bay slowly crept back, but still overall, I just look like there's just too much speed, and especially the demeanor today of the press conferences. Tom Brady looks very jitty. He looks so excited. He looks like a kid in the candy store. Just can't wait to get out there. First time that a home team is hosting the Super Bowl. He just looks so excited. And Patrick Mahomes just looks calm, cool, collected, confident, and it looks like he just has that killer in his eye that Sunday I'm going to bring it, and I'm going to establish myself as the best player in this league for the years to come.
It's going to be such a good game on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Kendall, what were your initials?
I think what's going under the radar right now is that the Chiefs, they torched the Buccaneers the first meeting, and Tyreek Hill had all those yards, and it was a blowout for the first half. But Sammy Watkins and Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't even play that game, and I think both of them. I think Clyde is playing this week. I think both of them are back for this game. I haven't heard, so we know Sammy Watkins when it's a big game. We know he's going to show up. Look what happened last year in the Super Bowl. They get Watkins back, Le'Veon Bell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and and watch out for the Honey Badger. I think he's going to be a pretty good expert in this game. Mm-hmm. From the Bucs standpoint, I think Antonio Brown is going to be a breakout game. I think he's going to have either Antonio Brown or Rob Gronkowski. One of them, they're going to have a breakout game. But I just think this Chiefs offense, they're scary. I mean, they didn't even have 2 starters last time, and they're back for this game. Just add that to what they did last time. It's going to be crazy.
Think about the gauntlet Go ahead, SK.
I would like to point out, in recent Super Bowls, the high-powered offenses haven't fared very well when it comes to Super Bowl performances. Just the Rams a few years ago, high-powered offense got shut down. We've seen the Baltimore Ravens. We've seen the Bucs do it in the Super Bowl to the Raiders. We've seen some high-powered offenses in the past get shut down when it comes to Super Bowl performances. So that's just something else to keep an eye out for is can they sustain that because it's a one game and we've gone 2 weeks of studying you. So some defenses is really in tune with what they're doing, and they've been able to shut down high-powered offenses when it comes to Super Bowl Sunday.
That's a great point, Lamar Wallace. Steve Spagnuolo, he has beaten Tom Brady the last 2 times. Last year, or 2020, when he was in New England, the 2019 season in New England, and then this past year he beat him. So I mean, he's had Tom Brady. He beat him in 2. He beat him in 2 Super Bowls too. So he has.
Let's not forget that Patrick almost beat him in the AFC Championship game if it wasn't for a pre-snap offsides penalty.
Well, he almost threw an interception. He almost.
I mean, I'm just pointing that out there that they were in position to lose. That's all I'm saying. They were in position to lose the game, and it was on the back of Tom Brady. While if D4 would have just lined up correctly, that wouldn't have been a Super Bowl for Brady, and we could be talking about Mahomes going to the 3rd. And we're not talking about it.
I don't even remember that game.
I'm sure you don't. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have gone through a gauntlet in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Wild card weekend. They played a really good Washington football team defense. The following week, playing the New Orleans Saints, a team they lost to twice in the regular season, not just beat, they got their asses whooped pretty good. And then playing the Green Bay Packers, the hottest team in football, going into Lambeau Field and getting that victory. So, look.
Bad coaching.
Let's see.
Yeah.
That damn D Ford. That name is forbidden in my house. Lamar turns.
Shout out Lamar Wallace.
Man,
Lamar.
D Ford calls 3 straight. It's gonna be a dynasty already.
Hey,
we
Lamar,
be talking about Kansas City being a dynasty.
Turn it down a little bit because I think you might hear that name more than once this week. But yeah, I mean, overall, like both of these teams are very deserving to be in this position, and I think we're in the store for a great game on Sunday. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we end this live stream?
Stay tuned. We got more of these to go.
Yeah, day by day. day by day, just inches it closer. Just going to be real interested to see how the preparation is for these players under these unique circumstances. So that's something else is going to be asked throughout the week for media availability, and just to see how their demeanor is compared to last year, knowing that this is just unprecedented times, to see if that has any bearing on the game.
And if y'all haven't listened to our last podcast with Ryan Clark, go. It's on Apple. It's on all platforms. Make sure y'all go listen to it. And the YouTube will be out in a few days later on this week. So just be on the lookout for it.
Man,
Yes, sir.
Ryan Clark was awesome. I'm not gonna. I mean, this is one that you want to tune into.
Yes, and Ryan Clark actually made his Super Bowl 55 pick as well, so you want to make sure you tune into that. All right, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on tomorrow at the same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, thank you for watching. Have a good day.
Yes, sir.